Welcome back to Number Sense Nonsense, and this video will teach you how to add and subtract whole numbers mentally. So some steps we need to know to use this trick are to look for patterns in the numbers that you have to add and subtract. And then whenever you're adding and subtracting, make sure you make them into pairs and then add and subtract them. And then add and subtract the leftovers in those pairs to complete the question. So let's do this in an example. So 16 minus 24 plus 18 minus 22. Although this is a simple problem and you can do it without making it into pairs, you'll be much more efficient and quicker if you do make them into pairs. So one way we could do this is by doing 16 minus 24 first and then 18 minus 22 first. So then if you do 16 minus 24, that would give you negative 8. Then if you do 18 minus 22, that would give you negative 4. And then here there's a plus sign. So you do negative 8 plus negative 4, which gives you negative 12. Or another way you could do this is by adding the positive ones first and then adding the negative ones first. So then if you do 16 plus 18, it would give you 34. And you would do minus 24, negative 24 minus 22, that's negative 48. Subtract those, you get negative 12. This will give you bigger numbers, so it won't be as efficient as using negative 8 and negative 4 to get negative 12. Next question. Here, we first scan the entire problem. You see that you have a negative 6 and a positive 6. So if you do negative 6 plus 6, those cancel out. So you don't even have to worry about adding those. Next, you have 44 minus 38 plus 4 left. So here, you can do 44 minus 38 first and then add the 4 at the end. Or do negative 38 plus 4 and then add 44 at the end. It's whatever you see first and whatever you think is most efficient. So here I think 44 minus 38 is quick to do. So if I do that, I would get 6. So then if I do 6 plus this leftover 4, I add those, get 10. That is my final answer. Next question. Here we can see that 502 is a bigger number. But the best way to add this is by adding the smaller numbers first and then adding or subtracting it to the final big number, which is 502. So here, if we do negative 52 plus 40, we can do that, get negative 12. So these two are canceled. And then you see that negative 12 plus positive 12 cancels out. So you have 0. So you're finally left with 502. And you'll see a bunch of these types of problems on a number sense test where you just cancel out numbers, and one of the numbers in the sequence of numbers will be your final answer. So yeah, keep an open mind when approaching these problems. So here are some practice problems. Feel free to pause the video and work on these on your own, but I will continue and solve them. So here, the best way to do this is by making pairs. So you scan the question, you see that if you add this pair, and this pair, solve those, you get 8 for each one. So 64 minus 56 is 8. 48 minus 40 is 8 again. Negative 71 plus 79 is 8. And then there's a plus sign here, so you add and then add again. So it's practically 8 plus 8 plus 8, or 8 times 3, which would give you 24 as a final answer. Next question. This one is very simple because it's all the same number, and all you have to do is pay attention to the signs. So the first pair here, negative 5 and positive 5, those cancel. You can get rid of those. Here, got a positive 5 and a negative 5. That is 0. Cancel out again. All you are left with is with a positive 5, and that is your final answer. Next question. Here, you scan the question, and you see 2 6s, and they're all basic numbers. So you can pair them however you feel like is most efficient. So what I would personally do is I would add the 6s up first. So 6 plus 6 would give me 12. Then I see 3 minus 4. That gives me negative 1. Then I see this negative 11 here, so I would do negative 1 minus 11, get negative 12, so these are all canceled out. So then if I do negative 12 plus this positive 12, That leaves me with 0. So this also cancels out. And all you're left is with the 7, and that would be your final answer. Last problem. So these are bigger numbers, but don't freak out over the bigger numbers, because you will see that once you start adding things up accordingly, then you'll see that stuff cancels out. So 1400 and 700 both end in zeros. Leave those towards the end. First, let's add the complicated numbers. So 438 plus 262. If you add those, you actually get a very simple number to calculate with 1400 and negative 700, which would give you 700. So here you can see that 700, adding these two gives you 700, and subtracting the 700 here would cancel them both out. So all you're left with is 1400, and that is your final answer. And that is how you subtract and add whole numbers mentally.